variable that we had a look at was 2x plus 3y is equals to 5, right? So this is the linear equation that we understood, right? We solved for the solution of this linear equation. Now, what we need to understand is how we represent a linear equation which is in two variables on a graph, right? Or in geometrical form. So let's bring out a graph here and let's put this linear equation onto the graph. So now in this graph, we can clearly see that the linear equation that we had was a linear equation in two variables, right? X and y. And that linear equation gets transformed onto a straight line when we bring it into the geometrical form, right? So this is how we represent a linear equation in two variables.
So after an hour, we have to calculate the distance between these two planes. Now since we know the speeds of both the planes and we know that they had flown for 1 hour, so we can find out the distance covered by both these planes. So we can find out the distance covered by plane A, that is OA, and we can find out the distance covered by the plane B, that is OB.
Now this activity will tell us how metals and acid and bases react. So the setup is here. You can see a test tube stand which has a test tube. Now in this test tube we have dilute sulfuric acid and zinc granules. Now this test tube is fitted with the cork. Now this cork has a delivery tube which goes or gets immersed into the glass bowl which consists of a soap solution. Now when the zinc granules are put into the dilute sulfuric acid test tube, the reaction starts and you will see bubbles evolving in the soap solution. Now why is it so? You have to do this by performing a simple exercise which is bringing a burning candle. As soon as you will bring the burning candle near the bubbles, the candle will extinguish.
So to begin our journey into probability, we'll first take a look at some terminology that is associated with the study of probability. So we'll answer some basic questions like what an experiment is. Then we'll see what is the sample space associated with a random experiment. Then we'll go on to study about what events are, what different kinds of event exist, what are the differences between these events. Then finally we'll see how we calculate the theoretical and the experimental probability. Once we are familiar with these terms, we'll be ready to tackle some problems of probability.
For example, let's take a piece of sodium metal and drop it in a beaker full of water. You will observe that the reaction is very violent. The reaction with calcium is not so violent. The heat evolved is not sufficient for the hydrogen to catch fire. Instead, calcium starts to float on the surface because the hydrogen bubbles evolved stick on it and reduces its density.
So let us first discuss what a circle is. Now if I take this distance and keep this point as fixed and rotate this hand, what you will find out that I'll get a circle. You will find out that the distance from this fixed point to all the points of this circle is same. So this fixed point is known as the center of the circle and the fixed distance from this point to the circle is the radius of the circle.
There are trillions of nerve cells in the human body. Now let's have a look on the various parts of the nerve cell. It has dendrites, the cell body, the nucleus, the axon which has a myelin sheath covering and the nerve ending. Now these dendrites are responsible for acquiring the information and also for generating a chemical change which leads to an electrical impulse. This electric impulse is transferred from the dendrites to the cell body and along with axon it travels down to the nerve ending.